Blog Talk Radio.
Boy, oh boy, we have made it. We are here, people. It is your boy, Long Beach Joe, and we are here to talk about Adam Gase being fired. What a day. It's finally come. The Jets have finally made the right decision, and they're moving forward. I'm ready to get right into it. Listen, I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. So without further ado, folks, let's go ahead and get into the show. I'm fired up. I am fired up. All right? The day has come. The nonsense will cease. We fired Adam Gase yesterday. The Jets released the press. Chris Johnson let him know that it was time to go. And let me tell you, I was happy. I was. All the misery, the pain, the dysfunction that I saw for 2 years of that man being here, it's over. Oh, my God, it's over. It's over. Said and done. It is now put into the past, and now we have a general manager in Joe Douglas. We have cap, we have picks, we have assets that we can now move forward with. And we have many decisions that we need to make. And it seems to me that the Johnsons, particularly Chris Johnson, has gotten his mentals together. And we're going to discuss that. I know I got some callers on the line. I'll get to you folks in a second. So much to talk about here. I just want to talk a little bit about the Chris Johnson press conference. He comes out, he said a couple of things that really touched me and makes me start to think that maybe him, Woody, because we know Woody's coming back from his position overseas. His time's coming up over there. I believe it's January 21st he'll be back. He said some things, though, in that press conference that make me think that he's changed his mindset about how he needs to be running this football team. One of those things he said he was tired of losing. He was tired of losing. And that when the fans were allowed to go to the games before, the situations that we're in currently in the world, they used to give him an earful. And he himself was a Jets fan before, back in the days, name it, and so on and so forth. And he said he had heard that, they were tired of losing. They would give him an earful. He was done. He was over with it. He was tired of being, a laughingstock. You could feel when he was saying that he was generally tired of that stuff. When he started to ask him questions about the next head coach, what are you going to do? How are you guys going to run the head coaching search? He literally said, hey, look, I'm going to run the coaching search, but it's going to be Joe Douglas, our president, our team president as well, Jaime. They're going to conduct it. Joe Douglas and the president, they're going to conduct that, But he also said something that was big is that Joe Douglas's opinion carries the most weight because of his football background. And how many times have we said that? How many times have we said things like, hey, listen, let football people make football decisions? We said that a million times. That's one of the biggest issues with the Johnsons and their meddling. Let football people make football decisions. Now, there was another part that people kind of read into, but I think they read a little bit more into it than they should have. Chris Johnson also did say he'll make recommendations, but the Johnsons will have the final word. Okay, now here, listen. Because Douglas's opinion has the most weight, because, again, he's the general manager, he's the football guy, you got to think, the Johnsons are the owners. They're the owners. They're the guys that sign the checks. So, yeah, they're going to make the final decision because they own the business. But believe me, if you have somebody that's advising you, that is not only shown that they understand football, they have football intellect, which he does, right? You look at his first draft here, pretty damn good players. Mekhi Becton, Mims in the second. We saw Ashton Davis flash. Hall looks like a corner that's going to be able to succeed here. He traded Jamal Adams, a box safety, for 2 first-round picks. He's truly set us up for success in certain spots, even though we were really, really bad, right? We were bad off. This roster was bad off, right? And he's shown you intellect. And that's just here. He's done other things. When he was at the Eagles, they won a Super Bowl. He's a big part of that. He was the guy that was doing the scouting. He was the guy that was bringing guys in. So he's shown that. So he's going to let the football guy make football decisions, but he's going to make the final decision. He's going to be the guy to sign off on it. But I truly believe that he's going to allow Joe Douglas to let him know, hey, look, this is the guy we need to hire. This is why we need to hire this guy. This is why we need to move forward with him. And he'll go, you know what? Okay, if you say he's good, I think he's decent. He's got a clean background. I'm going to ride with what you got to say. That's truly how I believe it will go. And this is why. Because he also said in that press conference as well, when asked about a possible change in the power structure in the franchise, he said that they were considering it. They were considering a change in the organizational structure, whether to have the head coach report to the GM rather than have them on equal footing, which is huge. That is huge. Because the issues in the past were that our organizational structure wasn't functioning well. That's why we had the issues. That's why we were always mismatching the head coach with the general manager with the head coach. We fire our general manager, but we keep Rex Ryan. Then we bring in another, general manager in Idzik, who him and Rex don't vibe together. Then we do it again with Mac again. We fire this guy. We bring that guy in. You look at what happened between Mac and Adam Gase. We're hiring coaches for general managers. It just makes no sense. And the organizational structure has always been off. That's why you look at our football team, the way it's been ran, it's always off. We don't have the personnel because they don't fit the coaches, the coach's scheme. There's always some issues here. And this time we have a chance to clean all of that up, man. We have a chance to clean all of that up. All of it. If they change the structure and get it together so that everything is aligned, everything is going in the right way, we can finally have a functioning football franchise. Damn. Isn't that what we all want? A franchise that is all on one accord, that understands what the goal is, that everybody is pushing towards. No more nonsense. Just straight football. Building forward. Trying to become a winner, trying to become a team that's constantly in the push to make the playoffs, to win Super Bowls. That's where we need to be. And you cannot be that. You cannot be a winner in this league unless your organization has structure. You'll be a loser forever. And that's where we've been. The dysfunction that we've seen in this franchise has always been because our structure is completely out of order. The Johnsons have been a huge part of that. They've always been the common denominator. They've always listened to the wrong people. They've always hired the wrong people. But now we have a chance to change that. We've got a chance to move forward. We've got a chance here. We've got a chance. He also talked about the next coach that he hires. He kind of wants them to be more of a CEO-type head coach. I know some of the reporters that were there asked questions about Adam Gase not focusing on the defense. That was not a surprise that he would say something like that. If you go back to when Adam Gase literally got hired, and this is one of the things that I told people, he literally stood on a podium, okay, and said that he needed a head coach of the defense. He told y'all since he got hired that he was not going to have anything to do with the defense. He told you that. That's why they hired Greg Williams for him. He didn't hire Greg Williams. Greg Williams was hired for him. It's a fact. You can go look it up. Adam Gase was never going to have anything to do with the defense. He's never had anything to do with the defense since he's been a head coach in this league. He's always been just a one-sided guy, an offensive I'm not going to bash him, but he's always been an overrated offensive coordinator, basically, a glorified offensive coordinator. That's who he is. That's who he's always been. And when you came here, you saw that. And the final thing that he said that really, really got me going was when he talked about Sam Darnold. He talked about him kind of glowingly. He understands, things didn't work out the way that everybody would have hoped this year, but he says he loves Sam Darnold. And he hopes he remains a Jet for the future. But that is up to Joe Douglas. It is. It's up to Joe Douglas. But he does like Sam. So we'll see what happens going forward with Sam Darnold. We'll see what happens. Let me tell you something. We've got a chance to turn things around, truly. We've truly got a chance to turn things around here. And I like the fact that they're allowing Joe Douglas and the team president, Jaime, to go forward and figure things out. So I can't wait to get into it. Listen, I got a lot of callers. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about the possible coaches that we have coming up here. You know, the interview requests that have been sent out. And I want to ask y'all a couple of questions as well about the search. I'm going to go ahead and get into it. I'm going to go to the callers. I'm going to go to the callers immediately. All right. I'm going to go to my guy, E. I know I got quite a bit of callers. Please be patient tonight. Please be patient. You know what I'm saying? Be patient. I will get to everybody. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639. That is the number to call in. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to everybody tonight. The only thing I don't want, don't curse on my show. I know I may have some new callers. Do not curse on my show. I'll get you out of here fast. Fast. Faster than the Jets fired Adam Gase after the last game. I had to do it. I had to do it. I had to do it. I had to do it, man. I had to do it. We're going to go to my guy, E, man. My guy, E, is on the line. I'm coming to you. E, what's going on, my man? I want to talk to you today.
Yo, what's up,
How are
man?
you doing? I want to thank you for calling in. All right, that's first and foremost. How are you feeling after hearing the news of Adam Gase being fired?
Yo, Gase got fired so fast. Did you see what Ty Johnson posted on, like, his story or something? It was like they got back. It was like 20 minutes after they got back to the facility, the news broke. So that's pretty fast.
Yeah.
But I was just practicing guitar, and my sheet music's on my computer, and I got a notification from the Jets website. It was like a statement from CEO Chris Johnson, like, no. It's like I expected it. I don't know. I was screaming. I was going crazy, which I don't know why, because I expected it. But like, have it be real was just great. And you know, it's fun to celebrate about, like. And I was watching a live stream at Jets live stream, and a guy made a good point. He's like, this dude's so unlikable. Like, when Todd Bowles got fired, we weren't throwing parties because of it. Like, this guy, that's how bad he is. And that's how, like, bad of a person he is, too. Like, he just seems like such just not a nice guy to be around. So, yeah, there are virtual Jets parties on YouTube just going crazy about him getting fired. Yeah. So I'm hyped about that. And what I'm even more hyped about is seeing some of those names of the candidates being interviewed. That's got me real excited.
Yeah, so let's go right there, E. When you look at the situation of some of the candidates, and like you said, they've already sent out, you know, some requests to interview. Matt Eberflus was one of them. Arthur Smith was another. Brian DeBoe, Eric Bieniemy. What are some of the like to you? If you rank those guys just right now, again, I know they're probably sending out more as we're speaking. Things is still a fluid situation. Who are your top three out of those guys? Just those names. Who are the top three guys you'd like to see become Jets' next head coach if it's just those guys that are coming in?
So other than those three, I just want to say one thing. They talked about getting a CEO-style coach. If you're going for that, I either want Matt Campbell or Pat Fitzgerald, two guys who built college programs, because that's kind of what your job is when you're building a college program. I'm not 100% sure, especially with Campbell, if he's going to come out from Iowa State. But out of those three, so Bieniemy, Eberflus, Dable is by far my favorite out of those three. And, like, not only is he a great coordinator and a great offensive mind, you're taking him from a division rival. So he's actually coached in every single team in the division, so he knows the division well. He's also coached defense before, so it's not like you're getting an offensive play caller for your head coach and then a defensive play, like, with Adam Gase, like, he didn't even have nothing to do with, the defense. So I really like him. Bieniemy, I used to be higher on. I'm still high on him. It's just I've kind of been more into some of the other candidates. So the big worry with him, obviously, is, is he the guy making it happen in the offense? But how I think about it is he's clearly involved, and he's he's learning there, and Andy Reid backs the guy pretty well. So I'd be cool with him. And Eberflus, that defense isn't the most talented defense, and they're playing great. They got Xavier Rhodes, who was terrible last year, playing real well again. They got, they have two quote studs who everyone knows about, in Buckner and Leonard, and not really other guys. And the only downside about getting a a defensive coordinator is like, let's say your offensive coordinator does a great job, well, then you're going to lose him to being a head, he's going to become a head coach, so your quarterback's got to learn new offense, stuff like that. That's my only worry with that, but I'd be super glad with all three of those.
Yeah. And even just touching on some of the things that you brought up, I like the guys right now. I mean, three of the guys that I wanted that we talked about for months, Arthur Smith, Eric B., and Brian DeBoer, those were my three guys, and I had like Greg Roman was my fourth. But one of the things that I hear talk about when you talk about Bianini, and that's something I've heard as well from other people, is they wonder, how involved he is in the offense. He is involved in the offense. He's on that staff. So he's the guy that's working with that game plan. He's the guy that's helping Andy Reid put it together. That was one of the big reasons why Andy Reid has been so successful since leaving Philly as well, has stayed so successful, because he always gets good, younger offensive minds around him that continue to help him, evolve with the game, continue to help him find, ways to implement his scheme in different ways. And again, there's two guys that came from that coaching tree, and Doug Peterson, you've seen what he's done in Philadelphia, and then Matt Nagy in Chicago. Those guys have won other places that they went, particularly Doug Peterson. We saw him literally go somewhere else, win a Super Bowl, and it wasn't even with his starting quarterback. He adjusted his scheme for Foles to continue to push forward when their starter had went down, and they continued to push and won a Super Bowl that year. So when you talk about the guys that are coming off that staff there in Kansas City and seeing and having success, I love Eric B., especially, again, when we're talking about, the things that we're talking about, the situation that we are in here. We're trying to groom and mature a young quarterback, whether it be where we stick with Sam Darnold, whether it be that, or whether it be that we draft another guy. We've got to figure out how to utilize young quarterbacks, how to get the best out of them and benefit their skill set. So he could be a guy that can do that. I like the Bowles as well, too. You brought up some great points. One of the points I brought up earlier was his ability to help Josh Allen get to the next level, because we all knew that Josh Allen's mechanics were horrific. He had issues with accuracy, all those things. And the
accuracy and that was staff terrible, yeah.
Yeah, it was horrific. It was horrific.
It was laughable, man. But
he was able to put some things together around that kid, and now we've seen him be successful, man. He's an MVP candidate, like real talk. Like not he went from this guy's a glorified running back. I said it, I did say that, and to now he's an MVP candidate, and he is pushing and leading that team. But I want to go to something else that you talked about, because you talked about the college coaches, Matt Campbell and a couple other guys. Are you concerned that if we do go the college coach route, we do get a guy from college, that there'll be a bit of a learning curve in the NFL, right? Because we've seen college coaches in the past come in to the NFL, even some college coaches that have been extremely successful in college, come to the NFL, and they just can't get it together quickly. They can't get it together right away, and it takes them quite a bit of time before they're really able to adjust to the NFL game. Are you concerned about that if we go the college route?
I'm not incredibly worried about it. A lot of the college guys I'm looking at are going to fill that more CEO-type role. They're not really going to necessarily be play callers, so you don't have to worry about that too much. And I'm very interested in bringing a former head coach as a coordinator, whether it's like if you go defensive coordinator, you can get a guy like Marv Lewis or Dan Quinn from Atlanta, like guys who have been a head coach who may have not had much success as head coach. But, hey, Dan Quinn, he made a Super Bowl, and he's been a good defensive coordinator in the past, so I'd look to that. So a guy who can kind of, help the first, the first year guy. But I'm not too worried about, college versus NFL, because, like, especially with these guys like Iowa State and Northwestern and, like, the other college guys people talking about, P.J. Fleck from Minnesota, they're not the guys, they're not getting the best recruits and stuff. So they're already kind of having to fight through a bit of adversity for not having the best rosters. So you kind of have bad bonus with them. Like my issue with, like, let's say we got Dan Mullen or someone like from Florida, and I'm like a casual. I'm not a huge Florida fan. I'm like, I guess they're my favorite team, but like I wouldn't hire someone like that because I don't know. He hasn't been. He's a good coach, but compared to those guys, like I think those guys do more with less. So that's what I like about those three college guys. But I'm not honestly too worried about the transition, because Matt Rule's been he's not winning games, but he's got that team playing incredibly well. And thinking about some other recent college guys, not really coming to the top of my head, but yeah, I'd be interested in that. Yeah.
Okay. And my final question before I let you go, you're bringing the fire, man. Let me tell you is, how much faith do you have in Joe Douglas to find the right guy, man? How much faith do you have in him?
Oh, I got a lot of faith in that. not gonna lie, man. Like a lot of people are talking about, oh well, his free agency wasn't great. Well, you kind of can't blame him because he knew the team was going to suck. He's not going to tell the media, oh, we're going to lose a lot this year, but who cares? Like, people have been criticizing his moves. I thought he had a really a great draft class, honestly, and he's a guy who preaches culture, which this team desperately needs. He's a well-respected football guy.
Yeah.
He's been around the league a ton, so it's not like he's some financial guy like a Idzik or something. He's a football guy, and I think he'll really understand. And also people worried about it saying that the owner gets the final decision. The owner gets the final decision in everything. They're the one paying the check. They own the team. So, it's still Joe. Chris Johnson's not going to tell Joe Douglas he knows something more about football than he does. So I'm not worried about that either. But it should be really interesting. And hopefully it happens sooner rather than later because we got a lot to talk about draft and free agency-wise. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, E, I want to thank you for calling in, man. You have a good night. Gase is gone, my man. He's gone.
Woo! Let's go. Play that Jets camp for me.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. All right, you have a good night, E. Have a good one. Listen, E calling in with the fire. Listen. There's so much to talk about. I'm hyped. I'm really, really excited about the future of this football team and where we can go. And one of the things that E brought up as well, I'm going to keep going to these callers in just 1 second, is a lot of people were banging on Joe Douglas because of his free agency. There were some people saying, on my timeline as well, his free agency didn't look good. How do we know that he can really make some choices? Yeah, he got some decent draft picks in. Listen, I looked at the situation in free agency as this. There were some guys out there that could have came in here and helped us, particularly a wide receiver. But again, I look at the way that he may have evaluated some of those guys. Outside of Joe Thuney, which I think he was going to go after, there were reports that we were absolutely going to, pound the pavement to make sure that we gave him whatever he wanted to get him into our facility before the Patriots franchised him. That was one of our top targets in free agency. I mean, the reports were everywhere that the Jets were going to chase him down and bring him into the facility and not let him out of there until he was a Jet, point blank, period, right? So I think Joe Thuney was a guy that he wanted, a guy that he coveted, but the rest of the guys, maybe he just felt like, hey, I don't want to overpay for some of these guys. And if you look at the situation, particularly if you go back and look at Mike McCagnon, he would thoroughly overpay for guys all the time, right? That was one of the reasons why we were so bad and we were at where we were at. Look at how free agency has burned us in the past. There's fans right now that want to trade away Mosley because he hasn't played, in Denver 2 years. He's only played like 2 games in 2 years. He's been hurt, and then he opted out this season, but he's making $18 million a season as an inside linebacker. Look at how the deal of Tremaine Johnson burned us. Whoa. Woo! That was horrific. That was bad. That deal was terrible. And look at how much it cost us. You know what I'm saying? Look at how it burned us on the back end. So overspending in free agency or just going out to free agency and chasing guys does not always equal success. And we've seen that. I mean, we've overpaid so many guys. We love Le'Veon Bell, but honestly, he was a running back. We paid him $14 million to come in here. I don't think, any other team in the league would have done that. And we were bidding against ourselves in that situation as well. And we ended up paying him quite a bit. You know what I'm saying? But did it lead to any, kind of success here? No, it was nothing. So now if we can get structure, if we can get organizational structure, we have a general manager in the building that is not going to get abused, that is not going to get used, that's going to, build through the draft, because that's what you should be doing as a franchise, and a general manager that's also going to be very, very smart about how he spends his money and what he's doing. I think we have a chance. The only thing I knocked him on was his handling of the wide receiver position. I think he could have done more there. Absolutely. Particularly in the draft too. But, I think that's just how he played out free agency and how he looked at it. So I'm going to get back to these callers. Salute to my guys in the chat as well. My savages, if this is your first time listening to me, if you're just listening to me on the radio, I also live stream during my shows as well on Long Beach Joe Jets. That is a YouTube page, so you can catch me on my live stream, Long Beach Joe Jets. You can subscribe, turn your notifications for those. But my guys in the chat be going off, okay? And I call them the savages. Why? Because they savage, okay? Nobody's safe. Not me, not Adam Gase. Not even Adam Gase. So, I'm I'm going to go to my guy. I'm going to keep getting to these lines. I got quite a bit of callers. Again, everybody be patient. I will get to everybody. I'm going to get to my guy, 661. 661, I'm coming to you. I wanted to get your thoughts about Gase being fired. I want to get your thoughts about Gase being fired, and also want to get your thoughts about Joe Douglas, being on top of that coaching search. How are you feeling today? I know you're a new caller. Give me your name and where you're from.
Can you hear me?
661, this is you. I can hear you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What is your name? Where you from?
My name is Jason, and I'm from California. So, yeah,
okay. That's good to hear from you, Jason. Absolutely. How are you? How are you feeling about Adam Gase being fired?
Oh my goodness, dude! It feels good. Finally, all this torture, all this horrible play calling, all this just downhill after downhill after downhill. It's finally over.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can take ourselves seriously now, and now we can go find a coach and start building and start fixing this franchise.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Out of some of the head coaches that we have, in the tuck right now, guys that we are, sending out interviews for, Eberflus, Arthur Smith, Eric Bieniemy, Brian DeBoer, who is the guy that's your top guy that you like to see the Jets bring in?
The number one I would like to see in is Brian DeBoer. He has shown with multiple QBs he can build around and he could develop. Again, the newest, the best one he has done is Josh Allen, a QB that had accuracy issues, has now brought to, like you said, MVP. So I would like to bring him in, and he can help us with if either it's Sam or Justin Fields or whoever's going to be our next QB. So he's on my number one. Eric Bieniemy's my second, and then for my college would probably be Matt Badwell, and also the Ravens defensive coach as well.
Okay, so you like the Ravens defensive coach as well. When you look at the situation here, this is my final question before I let you go, is where do you think we rank on the list of attractive head coaching openings? Because, you got the Jags, you got the Chargers, you got the Texans, you got the Lions, you got the Falcons. Where do we rank on that list, man?
To be honest, we ranked about in the middle. I think out of the 6 was the 3. I think Jaguars has us passed, and I think Chargers has passed a bit. But besides that, I think we're third.
Okay, you think we're third.
I
all right.
think we're higher than.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, we are higher than the Texans, and we're all higher than the Lions. Those two, and Falcons as well.
Okay. Yeah, I respect that, man. Hey, listen, Jason, I want to thank you for calling in tonight. It was phenomenal to speak to you. Next time I have a show, man, I want you to call in. You're a heck of a fan, and you know your stuff, all right?
All right, man. Thank you, man. Jets all, let's go.
All right,
make this new season go.
Absolutely.
JETS, Jets.
Absolutely.
Peace.
Absolutely, Woo, that was my guy Jason on the line, man. Jason, bringing the fire, man. Bringing the fire. We're going to keep going to these lines, though. We're going to keep going to these lines. Next guy I am coming to, all right, is a guy that absolutely brings the fire, okay? Brings the fire. My guy Dwayne, man. I got to talk to Dwayne, man, because you already know he's going to talk that talk. Dwayne, how are you doing today? Let me get your thoughts on Adam Gase being fired, my friend.
Well, I'm doing okay with the Adam Gase firing. I never wanted him in the first place, so I'm happy to be here today to see him go. No, but this is my thing. The Jets fans are very jaded, so I don't know why they didn't think he was going to get fired this year. I knew it. I knew he was gone. My thing was, who's the next coach, right? And the Jets fans are scaring me because who is Matt Campbell? I'm not sure who Matt Campbell is, and Pat Fitzgerald. When I'm looking at it, the way people talk about him, they sound like Rex Ryan, and that's what I'm scared about. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, you ask, hey, what is he good at? What is he good at? Oh, he's fiery. He rallies his team together, and, he turned around. I'm like, great. Does he run trick plays? Does he blitz well? What does he do? I'm sorry, one second. Yeah, so So I'm trying to figure out what is he good at, and then we have Dable, that he's in the NFL. He just developed a quarterback. We got Greg Roman. He developed a quarterback. And we got Joe Brady, who developed the offense. So, that's what's scaring me about this Jets upcoming coach thing. I don't want to get a guy that he's just known for culture changes, but what does he do during the X and O's? You know what I mean? That's what I want.
Go ahead, talk about it.
And so far, Dable, look what he did. Look, man, listen, I liked Josh Allen coming out of college. Don't get me wrong. I did. But his mechanics were terrible. And he didn't really look that much like a quarterback. He looked like he was an athlete at quarterback. So now that I've seen him change his mechanics and all that stuff like that, should we look at that and say, listen, this is the guy we should get for a young quarterback? It all makes sense to me instead of the mythical, he yells at his team during halftime and they rally around him. I don't want that guy again. That was Rex Ryan. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I want the X and O's guy, and I know he's not CEO or whatever, Dable. We don't know that yet, but at least we know he can put an offense. You know what I mean? So that's what I want from this next.
No, and listen, Dwayne, I hear you, and that's a very good take. That was kind of along the lines of some things that I've said in the past as well about who the next coach and hire should be. This was before Gase got fired, and I said some of the same things as well, that we need a guy that's going to be able to utilize or understand how to utilize young quarterbacks, and from the X and O standpoint, be able to better this football team. So I do think that is a good take. When you look at the situation, though, I know you like the Bowl quite a bit. What are your thoughts about Eric B. or Arthur Smith? Because those are guys that are kind of, they're offensive coordinators in the ring. They have also fixed or helped groom young quarterbacks as well. Would you take either one of those guys too?
It's going to sound weird. I would love Eric Bieniemy to coach the Chargers. It sounds funny.
Okay.
But when it comes to the Jets, I'm scared. Because we don't exactly know what his impact on the Chiefs is, right? Can you stand there and watch a great coach and create a great offense? Can you stand there and watch him and learn a lot from him just watching? Is that enough of an impact on the enemy?
Watching on Dwayne? If he's on the staff, and so if you're on the staff, you're not a water boy. Like you're not like a popcorn vendor. They don't just bring you around and squirt Gatorade in everybody's mouth. He's on the staff, so he helps put the game plan together. Like he's one of the minds that's in that room with Andy Reid saying, okay, I see this, I watched tape on this, and this. This is what we should target. Here's some of the plays we should draw up. He's one of the guys that's a part of bettering that offense and putting things together and coaching. He's not just a guy just like sitting around. Andy Reid ain't got no guys just sitting around. That's why guys, again, like Doug Peterson, Matt Nagy, leave that situation and go other places, and they're successful. Is because they've learned. They've been around this staff, a great staff. So, go ahead.
No, I value that. I value him being there and putting a part. But there's multiple things to being a head coach that I think you can't, unless you're proven and good at this, that you can't get away with on the Jets without being good at those things. You know what I mean? Like every time you ask somebody, hey, is he calling plays? What is he doing? Is he talking to Pat Mahomes? And they say, no, Pat Mahomes, after a drive, he comes back to the QB coach. I'm like, okay, so he does that. So I'm kind of wondering what his skills really are, because during the game you have a game plan for maybe a quarter, and then you got to call plays the rest of the way through. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm worried.
I hear your perspective. Dwayne. So my next question for you is, when you look at the head coaching spots that are open, Jags, Chargers, Texans, Lions, Falcons, where do we rank on that list as far as attractiveness? Where do you think we are at this point?
I can tell you this. I don't know where we rank, but I think for a hungry head coach, we look good. I think for the ones that are kind of top of the line, Urban Meyer, maybe even the Matt Campbell, the most coveted guys or whatever the case may be, I don't think we look like the best. Like I was looking at what we can do. I think we're going to draft Fields. I think the coach that comes in is going to draft Fields. I think they're going to want their own quarterback, which I'm okay with because, we have draft capital for the next 2 years. And if Fields is Deshaun Watson, okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm cool with that. If he's Deshaun Watson, I'm cool with that. We could get a guard and move on. But I think for the hungry coaches, the Bieniemys, some of the coaches that they have opportunities, but they're not the most coveted. I think they're looking at the Jets. But the most coveted guys, I don't think they're looking at the Jets like that, to be honest.
Wow. So you don't think we'll end up with any of the top guys then? Okay.
No, I doubt Urban Meyer's looking.
Okay. Well, listen, Dwayne, I respect that, man. I want to thank you for calling in. I got to keep getting to these lines. There's quite a bit of callers here, and I'm going to get to everybody, man. You have a good night, my friend.
Thank you very much. Great show.
Absolutely. Thank you. Dwayne calling with the fire. We're going to keep getting to these lines. I'm going to go to my guy Steve next, man. My guy Steve has been on this line. I know he's ready to talk, all right? We're getting ready to talk. Listen, Steve, first off, salute to you. Thank you for calling in. What are your thoughts on Adam Gase being fired, my friend?
Oh, my God. Joe, oh, my God. Let me tell you something. Before I get into that, there's something I got to say about that, okay? Let me just tell you something. When I first became a New York Jets fan, the first head coach that the Jets had was Herm Edwards, okay? And that was in the early 2000s when we had Herm Edwards. When he was let go after 2005, it was I was disappointed, but you know what? It was time to move on. Then from 2006 to 2008, we had Eric Mangini. And, Eric Mangini, he did some good things. He did things towards the end that wasn't good. It was time to move on. And, I was a little bummed out about it, too, with him, but it was time to move on after that horrific end of the 2008 season. Then we go to 2009. We bring in Rex Ryan. And Rex Ryan, to this day, is one of my favorite head coaches the New York Jets have ever had ever since I was a fan of this team. Then, he did a lot of great things, 2 back-to-back AFC championship games. Obviously, the next few years didn't work out. Listen, I was devastated when Rex was gone, but then we moved on. And then we went to Todd Bowles. Listen, Todd Bowles was a nice guy. He almost got us back to the playoffs back in 2015. He was a nice guy. He was well-respected. He just didn't know how to head coach, so he was gone. Then we go to Adam Gase, okay? I got to tell you something. Usually a lot of people would be disappointed, after someone gets fired. But let me tell you, when Christopher Johnson posted that statement last night after 9 o'clock time on the East Coast, 6 o'clock time on the West Coast where you are, let me tell you something, Joe. I was the happiest person ever. I was going through so much anxiety after the game, thinking, my God, when is he getting fired? When is he getting fired? When is he getting fired?
Yeah.
And then when Christopher Johnson posted that letter to the Jets fans and to the media about everything that happened, it was like, oh, my God, I just wanted to celebrate. I wanted to dance. I was singing. I was like, oh, my God, thank God the Lord. Guess what, Adam Gase? You're fired. You're fired.
Listen, Steve bringing a fire already. Listen, Steve already bringing a fire. Listen, Steve, we got to keep going. We got to keep going, though. I want to get your thoughts. I know you're happy about Gase being fired, but what are your thoughts about Chris Johnson talking about a possible structure change where they may change the way that the reporting structure happens where, the head coach probably from now on, if they change the structure, is now going to report to the general manager instead of them both being on equal footing and reporting to the owners. What are your thoughts about that possible change?
So let me tell you something right now. I never got a chance to watch the full interview today of Christopher Johnson. I'm probably going to watch it a little later tonight before I go to bed. But I did some clips of it. Let me tell you something. This is the first time that I ever listened to Christopher Johnson be really angry with himself of what he has done. But he finally realized that Adam Gase was not the right person for the job. And he knows that this team needs to go into the right – it needs to be moved into the right direction. Listen, I said this last night on Twitter. You know, I tagged you in that post. You know, we're free finally. And you know something? Listen. I understood, you know, from players today, you know, of when Joe Douglas and Christopher Johnson spoke to everybody in the indoor facility today, told them about what happened with Adam Gase. You know, listen. Players have every right to be disappointed, you know, with Adam Gase, you know, being let go. And it's understandable on their part. Absolutely understandable. Yeah. But they knew it was time for a change. Even Mekhi Becton even said today in his final interview that it was time for a change. And you know something? Yeah. Let me tell you this. I trust Joe Douglas very much. Joe Douglas is a football guy. And the thing is that I do like what Christopher Johnson did say. Now, listen. Christopher Johnson does have a right to be part of the interviewing when the interviewing does happen with the coaching. But he is going to let Joe – hang on, Joe. He is going to let Joe Douglas make the final decision.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, and again, that was a part I think people were reading too much into, he's going to be – he doesn't deserve the right. It's his team. He owns it. He definitely should be in there, you know, at least listening to the guy or being a part of the decision in the search, but he shouldn't have as much say as a guy that knows more than him about the situation, period. Listen, if you knew football, you wouldn't have hired Adam Gase. That's his – I mean, I don't know how much plainer I can make that, Steve. But listen, you bring in some great takes. My final question before I let you go is, who is the head coach that you want to see brought in here, man? Are you an Eric B. guy? Do you like Brian DeBoer? Do you like Arthur Smith? Who do you like, man?
Let me tell you something. I said this on Twitter earlier today. I don't know if you saw it. Listen, I would be happy with Eric Bieniemy because I do like Eric Bieniemy's coaching style, but there's one person I would love the Jets to go after, and the person I want the Jets to go after is Arthur Smith. And for Jet fans listening out there, I want you to listen to me. Listen, Arthur Smith, what he has done to Tennessee's offense this year and last year. He has made Ryan Tannehill a superstar, okay? Everybody always used to say Ryan Tannehill sucks. Look at what he has done. Okay, yes, he has probably the best running back in the league in Derrick Henry. But listen, Ryan Tannehill has really revamped his career because of Arthur Smith. And Arthur Smith is the guy who I would love the Jets to have. And if Sam Darnold does stay, if the new head coach and Joe Douglas still believe in Sam, because listen, I still think Joe Douglas still believes in Sam. I got a little emotional today when Sam Darnold said in his interview, I want to be here still. You know, I know Jet fans saying that Sam should move on and go to somewhere else. Listen, it's going to really depend on what the new coach does. We need to do something with the new coach first. When the new coach gets hired, and after all the interviewing, and when he has his conference to the media the first time about his hiring, then we go to work, and then we see what Sam does. But Jet fans, we are heading in the right direction now. Adam Gase, you're fired. Goodbye. Yep. But Joe,
absolutely.
One last Hey Joe,
Steve, bring in the fire. Go ahead.
Yeah, so before I go in, there's one last thing I want to tell you. I took a quick stream at your live stream. I know you always do a great job with your live stream, too. Unfortunately, it looks like we got some angry Bills fans that are going on your live stream right now. I mean, listen, it's just they're telling us, oh, we got to pick up Nathan Peterman and draft a kicker in the second round. You know what? Bills fans can go screw off somewhere. You know, you won your AFC East title. Now you got to show it in the playoffs.
Steve bringing the fire. All right, Steve. Listen, I'm gonna let you go, Steve. I got to keep going to these lines. 559. I'm coming to you next. Listen, I want to thank you for calling in, Steve. You have a good night.
Joe, you go for it, man. Good night.
Absolutely. Good night. Woo! Listen, Steve bringing the fire before he goes. You know, I understand. I got a lot of different fans from different teams in my chat that love to go off, that love to go back and forth. I'm with it. You know, I didn't have some of these Bills fans, the angry Buffalo sports fan, I see you, my man. I see you, baby. You know what I'm saying? You upset because we might get the ball. You know, I'm not tripping. I understand. But when we do, you know what I'm saying, recoup and we get back together, you're going to have to see us, though. And then we're going to see what's up. You know what I mean? We're going to see what's up in the future. But enjoy yourself. 559, I'm coming to you. I'm coming directly to you. I think this is my guy, Randy. I think this is Randy. I'm not sure.
This is Randy from
Randy,
the chat.
That's what I'm talking about.
This is me from the chat, brother.
That's what I'm talking about. Now listen.
Woo!
Savage. You understand this? This man is a savage. Everybody in the chat, straight savages. Do you understand this? Salute to you, Randy. Thank you for calling.
I appreciate you, brother.
Man. All right?
I appreciate you.
Let's talk about this. How are you feeling about Adam Gase getting fired?
Dude, Black Monday? Brother, this is a red letter day, dude. I've never been more happier the Monday after a season in my life. And before we answer any questions, let me say this. I'm going to go back to what Steve was saying. I appreciate everything Steve said. I love Steve. I could watch a game with that boy. I love Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan is one of the best head coaches the Jets had in the last 30 years. Nobody has ever came into this building and done what Rex Ryan did. And it wasn't Rex Ryan that dismantled this team. It was the stupidity of management letting good guys walk and replacing them with guys that weren't worth bull doo-doo. So that's all I'll say about that.
Talk that talk, Randy. You already know how I'm feeling. When you look at this situation now, though, and like you said, management made big mistakes. You brought in Idzik, okay? That started to ruin it. The Idzik 12, his horrific draft, all that stuff. Well, it looks like we're starting to turn things around, Randy, all right? Chris Johnson sit back and says, hey, our team president, Joe Douglas, they're going to conduct the search. You know what I'm saying? Of course, Joe Douglas's opinion carries the most weight. You know, he's letting these guys figure things out. He's going to have the final decision. What are your thoughts about that, man? Do you trust Joe Douglas to get the next head coaching hire right?
Well, man, I'm a 25-year Jets fan, so I just don't give my trust out just willingly anymore because I've been burned so many times.
Okay.
But I'll say this. Joe Douglas, I don't think we've had a GM like him since Tannenbaum. Granted, Tannenbaum never got to ever have Sol Saya, who was head coach in this ball club. So the fact that Chris Johnson came out and said that showed me that Chris Johnson admitted defeat, guilt, and that he screwed up, dude. And I was proud of him, man, for that. I was really proud of Chris Johnson for what he said earlier. And so if this is what we're going to start doing, if this is the way it's going to be, dude, hallelujah. It's about time.
That's facts.
Seriously.
That's facts. Yeah, that's facts. So when you
all the Johnsons need to do is cut the paychecks, brother.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And another thing that he talked about in that press conference as well, I want to get your thoughts about, is the possible change in the power structure. You know, that they possibly are looking at changing it from, you know, the GM and the coach reporting to them to the head coach reporting to the general manager and then the general manager reporting to the owner. What do you think is the importance of that, Randy? Do you think that's something that the Jets should absolutely do?
Oh, that's totally important because it keeps structure within the organization. Because we didn't have that with Adam Gase. I mean, we saw what happens when you got the head coach and the GM trying to run the ship. They crashed and burned.
Talk that talk, Randy.
So now you finally got some structure. The staff answers to the coach answers to the GM answers to the owner the way it should be. That's how hey, let me tell you something. That's how it goes on in New England. And they got 6 Super Bowls in 20 years. Okay?
Right.
So, I mean, you gotta replace it. I
Randy,
appreciate
you are
that.
bringing fire right now, man. You bringing the fire right now. I mean, everything's burning down around me. Randy, I'm trying to save myself. Everything's on fire around me right now. You bringing the fire, dude. You speaking truth. You speaking truth.
I appreciate that.
I'm going to keep going with you. Man. Listen, I want you to tell me what type of head coach are you looking for? Because I know that they talked about a CEO type head coach, But some people are saying, hey, we want more of an offensive-minded coach. We want a defense. Some people want a defensive-minded coach in here. They want to try to get as close as they can to another Rex Ryan. What kind of coach are you looking for, man? Are you a guy that wants another offensive mind in here to help get this offense together? What do you want?
I just want a guy who can come in here, whether he's offensive-minded, defensive-minded. Someone totally opposite of Gase. I mean, that's just basically it. Someone who's got a hands-on approach, someone who's going to, admit when he's wrong, try to change things off of that. But as far as guys that we're looking at, I don't have a problem going out into the college ranks, the collegiate route.
Okay.
Because if you ask me, the pro game looks a lot like the college game anyway. It's just a matter of adjustment at the next level. It's more of a business at the next level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got more. There's more duties. I mean, there's no doubt. There's more duties when you go to the next level. So it's a bit of an adjustment. But as far as guys that we're looking at, man, I like the guy from Kansas City. I mean, he's sitting under a Hall of Fame coach. Like, come on. Yeah. I really like the dude from Buffalo, man, or the guy from Carolina, Joe Brady. Either one of those three, dude, and I'm ball game with it. Let's rock and roll going to 2021 with some games.
Okay. Look, I think those are all, possible good head coaching hires. I really, really do. I like the Bowl as well. I know I got a lot of angry Bills fans in my chat right now thinking about the possibility of us getting him. Really makes them upset. Why are you guys so salty? I don't understand it. But I like Eric B as well. He's one of my top guys, and I also like Arthur Smith too. So I definitely, I like those possible head coaching hires as well. Bringing those guys in would definitely help us, do what we need to do and get better here. But, Randy, I got to ask you, man, another thing that was talked about was Sam Darnold. I know we haven't talked in just a little bit. I want to get your thoughts on Sam Darnold and just his possible future here. That's going to be my last question before I let you go.
Sure, right on. No, as far as Darnold goes, I don't have a problem with Darnold. The kid can play. But the kid's got nothing in front of him. Tom Brady, dude, if we would have went out and got Tom Brady last year like the Buccaneers did, he'd have retired after week 1, dude. So, I mean, this is where I'm at with. If they want to trade that pick for a ransom, go for it. But you better build the hell out of this team around this kid if you're going to go that route. Yeah. Because you got to keep him upright. You know what won the Patriots, helped win the Patriots 6 Super Bowls in 20 years? A quarterback that's still like a statue in the pocket every dang week, man. That's how you succeed in the NFL. You got to keep your quarterback off his butt.
Yeah.
So if they want to keep Darnold, I'm totally cool with it. If they want to draft a quarterback, I'm cool with that. But you got to build the team around the quarterback, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fact right there. And that's something that, again, that the new coach is going to have to, I'm pretty sure that Joe Douglas has an idea of what he wants to do, dealing with Sam Darnold, but that's also going to be something that the new coach is going to have input on as well, because you don't want to stick a new head coach with, just any old quarterback and say, hey, this is what you're going to do. That may push away quite a bit of head coaching candidates as well, but we've heard, that the new coach and Joe Douglas are definitely going to have their say in that. But my final question before I let you go, because I want to ask you one more before you go ahead. Where do you think we rank in this market of teams that have head coaching openings? Because the Jags, they got a lot of money. They have the first pick in the first round. The Chargers, they have talent. I mean, that kid Herbert looks phenomenal. You look at the Texans, they got Deshaun Watson. The Lions have Matthew Stafford. They have some pieces they can put together. The Falcons, their ownership is very involved. They want to win. It's a city that's ready to go. They also have some players as well. Where do you rank us in that that circle, man? Where are we at?
Well, you got to look at it this way. Over in, I can't say San Diego anymore. Over in Los Angeles, it's just like you said with Atlanta. Ownership's too involved. That's what the Jets' problem was. Ownership was too dang involved. So now, if you're a head coaching candidate and you're sitting back looking at all these jobs, Los Angeles is sexy. They got a great quarterback. I already said that kid's going to be a star in this league.
Whew. Let me tell you.
But when you look at what – oh, absolutely. But when you look at what was said in that press conference and that little quote that was put on social media, you got to sit back and tell yourself, okay, So their ownership. So all I got to do is answer to a GM, really, and this GM looks like he knows what he's doing. And even if that coach doesn't want Sam Darnold, you got to look at these picks, man. Pick 1 and pick 2 is basically 1 and 1A, especially after you watch Justin Fields light it up the other night. And if he beats Alabama, oh, dude, you can't even say Jacksonville might not even be looking at Justin Fields. You cannot say that. I mean, he looked sexy the other night. If he comes out and does that again against Alabama, oh, dude. It's pick 1 and 1A, man. That's all. That's the way I look at it. And I think a head coach, if he's looking at that, I think he's looking at the same way, especially with the quarterback prospects. Okay. And even if you don't want to go quarterback, I'd be okay with that offensive lineman out of Oregon, I think it is. Out of Oregon, so well, yeah. Big old dude. I mean, pairing him with like a guy like Becton. There's your anchors for the next 10 to 15. Yeah. Randy, you talking facts, man. You talking straight facts. I got to get back to these callers, Randy. Listen, man, you got to call in more often, Randy. You know I love talking to you. We go back and forth on social media. We go back and forth in the chat, my man. So, listen, you got to call in, my friend, next time I have a show. I love talking to you about these Jets. You know your stuff, man. Will do, my brother. You take care. And Happy New Year, Joe. Thank you. Happy New Year to you as well. You have a good one, man. Have a good night. You too, brother. Take care. Take care. Randy, man, listen, man, okay? There's guys that call in. Again, you can call in 515-602-9639, 515-602-9639. I'm coming to my guy Bayo next, but listen, call in, man. I love talking to everybody. Again, all my savages in the chat, Randy, Venom G's, Roach, everybody, Port Way, everybody to be in the chat, man. Straight savages. All right, and they coming with fire. My guy Val be coming with fire. Everybody coming with fire. Sir Tune, everybody. Jesse, Song, Boycott, everybody brings fire, man. And a lot of what Randy was saying is facts. Everything he said about the Johnsons, the fact that they can't stop meddling. They're always, in the business. They can't get out of the way. Takes was fire, man. Takes was straight fire. I'm gonna keep going to these lines. I'm gonna come to the chat in just a second. We're gonna address some of the things the Savages are saying in the chat. Love going back and forth with folks in there. I believe this is my guy Bayo, man. I think this is my dude Bayo. Bayo, I want to thank you for calling in, my friend. I want you to give me your thoughts about Adam Gase being fired, man.
What's up, Joe? Oh man,
what's going on, my friend?
What's up? It's an early surprise for 2021. That's what it is, man. It should have been done weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's surprising it is, man. They should have done it during Christmas weekend. I mean, that thing would have been a present.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you look at this situation, like you said, we were all hoping that it would be done earlier. Some of us wanted it done during the season. I talked about it constantly. But, the Johnsons stuck with him, and they allowed him to ride out the season. Now he's gone, and we're looking at this situation like, man, we got Joe Douglas here. He's going to figure things out. They're allowing him and our team president, Jaime, to continue to go forward and find the next head coaching hire. How much faith do you have in Joe Douglas to get it right, man?
I feel like the Jets got Joe Douglas for 6 years. No, actually, they got him for I think he has a contract with the Jets for 6 years, just so that he could clean up the mess that Joe McCagnon did. So I'm kind of happy about that. But the Johnsons gotta relinquish their position.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Christopher Johnson has talked about it. Christopher Johnson just, said that, he's going to have the final say, of course, because he's the owner, but he's also going to allow Joe Douglas's opinion, to rank higher. It's going to carry the most weight of anybody, again, because he knows football. And it's pretty obvious that he does, you know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that, he stays true to his word, because like you said as well, and other callers have talked about too, keeping the Johnsons out of meddling in the past has been, they've been pretty problematic. We've seen them step into situations and make decisions that they should not have been making. But I think that they've learned their lesson. I think that literally falling flat on your face after hiring Adam Gase, you calling him a brilliant offensive mind, you talking about, him being a leader, you talking about him coaching to where football is going, you telling the fans that you're not trying to win Twitter, but you're trying to win games. All that stuff is stuff that is going to be stuck to you for years unless you find a way to turn things around and become a winner. Because all of the blame, all of it lies directly on your shoulders when you tie yourself to a man like that when there were better candidates out there. So I'm hoping and I'm thinking, because you saw the humility in Chris Johnson, or you heard the humility in Chris Johnson when he was talking. You could hear how much it pained him to still be a loser, because that decision, he squarely made it himself. And he didn't, he couldn't get the job done and wasn't cutting it. So
I feel like he should have done it too, because I mean, you're talking about Joe Douglas, a guy that knows football, and the fact that Christopher Johnson said, "Oh, we're heading to where football is heading," which is down the spiral. I mean, like it's like you want to. It's like you want to have like a physical education professor or teacher teaching a math subject and saying, "Oh, he's qualified." Next thing you know, everybody has an F in their exams
in
or
the
whatever.
class. Look, I hear you. Even moving forward, talking about, now that Joe Douglas is on his search, and you talked a little bit about, how you feel about Joe Douglas, who are some of the guys that you want to come in here, man? Like, who is your top head coaching, hiring candidates? Who do you think is qualified to come in here and turn the Jets around?
Eric Bieniemy. I know everybody been saying Eric Bieniemy is overrated, but I mean, you see, if you put a guy who's a really good offensive coordinator into an organization that didn't have any, except for we had a good offensive coordinator that got fired weeks before we even ended the season, which doesn't make sense. I mean, I feel like it's a huge upgrade when you're thinking about going forward and rebuilding. I feel like Eric Bieniemy is the candidate.
Yeah. I think he's a great candidate as well. And my final question for you is, when you look at this situation here with the Jets, how important do you think it is that we strike quickly? Because we've seen other teams in the past kind of get, stuck in a situation where they want a guy, but they allow him to get out of the door and he goes somewhere else. We saw this in Arizona, where Cliff Kingsbury was wanted by other teams, and Arizona did the interview and got him, immediately signed, brought him in, hired him before he could even get out the door. They didn't allow him, to go anywhere else. How important do you think it is for the Jets to strike quickly?
I feel like this is just like what happened to Le'Veon Bell. Like, he didn't have any type of playing time. Probably like a few few times he played, but we got rid of him. I feel like that's what the situation is. I mean, we gotta settle for we gotta settle quick. But I feel like, as you bring in the new coach, a new system, needs to be put in place, and I feel like it might take a couple of games or so for the whole roster to get accumulated in the system. But I feel
no. I'm talking about the hire, the head coaching hire. How quickly should we strike on the head coaching hire? Should we move quickly? Should we be aggressive? What do you think should happen? Should we just weigh our options, all the candidates, or should we just make sure we get the guy, we want the guy, and immediately, make sure that he's our head coach?
We could look at different options, but but I feel like if Eric Bieniemy is the greatest solution that we had so far, then we should go in ahead and hire him quick, get him an interview.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. I respect that. Listen, Bayo, I'm gonna let you go, man. I got to get back to these lines. We got a lot to talk about tonight, but you are phenomenal, man. I love speaking to you. You have a good night. All right.
You too, man. Thank you so much. Everybody
All right,
support
thank you.
Eric. Everybody support Joe.
Thank you so much, man. You have a good night. Listen, Bayo calling in with the fire, man. Called in with the fire tonight. So many great callers tonight. My guy Randy. All right. Some Steve calling in. Guys calling in, man. Everybody's excited. It's because the future is bright, man. The future is so bright. I mean, I look at the situation. I know people. I'm going to get to the Savages in a second, but I see people, just asking me the questions like, Joe, what are your thoughts about the coaching candidates? How do you feel about it? I look at this situation like I was speaking about Matt Eberflus, the coach, defensive coordinator. You see what he's done with the talent that has been there. You've seen how he's improved that coach defense. I think they're ranked like 8th or something, or maybe 10th, I think, in scoring, and 11th in total in like 2018. And I think they're ranked like 8th now in total defense. So that team, it has some talent on it, but dude, he's risen the level of the talent. And that's something that, we could utilize here. You look at our defense, again, want to tell the best coach on the staff for most of the season was our defensive coordinator. But my only question, again, if we bring in a guy that's a defensive guy, who does he have in mind to, put his staff together? Who does he have on the offensive side of the board that's going to be able to come in here and continue to push and better our young quarterback, whether it be Sam Darnold or whether it be another guy that we move on to? So that'd be my only question if we brought in Matt Eberflus. Now, let me tell you, Arthur Smith, Eric B., Brian DeBoer, I'm on board with those guys. Arthur Smith in particular, you look at this situation, what he was able to do with Ryan Tannehill. After Ryan Tannehill was dealing with Adam Gase and was put in a horrific situation where he was just coached by the worst coach ever, he was able to go to Tennessee and turn things around, and Arthur Smith was a huge part of that. You look at that offense now, they are doing their damn thing. I think they're ranked like 2nd in rushing and 4th in scoring or something like that. They were 3rd in total offense this year. So they're really getting it together, and they've done their thing, and he's been a huge part of that. He's been able to turn around a quarterback's career, because a lot of people literally was like, Ryan Tannehill is nothing. He was able to rehab him, get him on his way out there, and now Ryan Tannehill is their franchise quarterback. He's the guy that's in charge he's the guy that's in at the helm of an offense that is pushing to make the playoffs and go for it. Some people even picked them to win a Super Bowl. I look at a situation where Eric B. is the guy, Chiefs offensive coordinator. I know people say he may have a lack of actual play calling duties, like he doesn't call the plays because Andy Reid does. But again, he's part of the process. He's the guy that's in that room with him, helping him draw up plays, helping him draw up that weekly game plan. He's the guy that's doing the things out there. So it's not like he's just part of the staff and he just kind of sits around like he's a nobody. No, he is very involved with the offense. He is very involved with putting the offense together. And I think that he should absolutely be a candidate to come in here and turn things around, especially when you're talking about an offense and an offensive coordinator that help continue to build, groom, and mature a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who is the best quarterback in the league right now. I mean, come on. This is a guy that put a system around him, that was a part of putting a system around him to completely have him flourish. You can't excuse that. You can't push that out the way, because look at where we're at. We need to find somebody to get us in today's current NFL offense. That's what we got to do. We've got to find somebody that can get us into becoming an offensive juggernaut in an offensively driven league. We need to get somebody that understands how to groom, grow, and mature young quarterbacks. And Eric B. is one of those guys, man. So is Brian DeBoer. I mean, again, Josh Allen, one of the biggest boom or bust prospects in the entire draft that year. Everybody was questioning, he's got a cannon. He's athletically gifted. But we don't know where the hell that ball's going once it leaves his hand. We don't know where it's going. We don't know. I mean, everybody before the draft said that. I remember Jets fans, the second that people even thought about talking about drafting Josh Allen to the Jets.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no.
I remember that draft. That's what they said. Hell no, don't bring him in here. Look, we either need to go Baker Mayfield, we need to go Sam Darnold, but do not bring Josh Allen. I remember those takes. And Josh came in. He did have issues. He had issues with his mechanics, his accuracy. It was laughable at one point. But then guess what? They were able to continue to work with him. They were able to fix it. They were able to turn things around, absolutely turn things around for him. He went from being a glorified running back to now an MVP candidate as a quarterback. He went from being a guy with he's got an arm, he's got a cannon, to being a true thrower from the pocket and still deadly with his feet. And they also were able to put an offensive scheme around him to utilize both of his skill sets. But DeVoe's a big part of that. So the future is bright here. The future is bright. If you still want to call in, it's 515-602-9639, 515-602-9639. Call in. I'm still taking calls, for a little bit. I mean, there's a lot to talk about, man. There's a lot to talk about. And another thing is, I look at this situation as well. People are asking me in the chat, how do you feel about, our ranking, Joe? Where do you think that we rank? Let me tell you something. I look at the Jags, I look at the Chargers, I look at the Texans, I look at the Lions, I look at the Falcons, and I think we probably rank either second or third. Of course, everybody ranks the Jags and the Chargers ahead of us because, the Jags have that cap space. They also have, that number one pick. But they also have some issues with ownership as well. The owners also came out and talked about how he's going to continue to have control of the roster. I don't know if that's going to be as attractive a spot for a head coach. We all know head coaches want to come in. They want to make sure that they have their choice in their pick. They want to be able to work with somebody. That may be something that kind of pushes head coaches away, where they may not have any say at all with who you may bring in the draft. That could be a problem there. So I think I have us ranked either second or third, honestly. Honestly, I do, because the Chargers is a great spot. I think they would be ahead of us. So, there's some things in there. Even the Texans have some issues too. I like the Texans quite a bit. I like what they bring to the table, but they got some cap hill. and the only thing they have is Watson, and they don't have many draft picks either coming up. So, there could be some issues there. So there's some space for us to really get in there and be an attractive spot for a head coach that wants to come in here and really make his mark. We're a franchise that's hungry, that's looking, for wins. We've got cap space. We've got a young quarterback. If you don't want to move forward with Sam Darnold, we have the number 2 pick in the draft. We have so much. We have quite a bit of draft capital as well next year too. So we've got a lot of stuff going on here. We really, really do. I'm going to get back to these lines in just a second. But my thing is, I'd like to see the Jets be aggressive early, get aggressive, and strike fast. I do not want to see us miss out on candidates because we're a little too slow to make the decision. We should have a list of guys that we want. We should have a list of guys that we have identified can, be a mover and a shaker here, guys that we feel can be able to come in here and really make a change with this franchise and get it done. Because, again, Arizona, there's various other teams that when they had head coaching options or head coaching openings, they made that choice quickly. They identified the guy that they wanted, and they got aggressive, and they went in there and took care of business. They did not let him out the building. So 914, I'm coming directly to you. Coming to you, my friend, and then we're going to Val after that. But 914, how are you doing today? What are your thoughts about Adam Gase being fired, my friend?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you in a song. Hold on.
Oh, you can't play no music here, my friend. I'm sorry. You're going to have to – we lost you, but you can't play any music on here. I apologize. We're going to go to Val next. My guy Val coming on the line. Listen, Val, it's good to hear from you, my man. How are you feeling today? You know what I'm saying? Another straight savage. What are your thoughts about Adam Gase getting fired, my friend?
Oh, man. I'm just looking at the news. We are looking for a new head coach. The sky was kind of, it was opening up. It was no clouds. It was sunny today. Man, it's a beautiful day. Hey. Yeah, we didn't make the playoffs, but we got rid of a dark cloud, So it's looking like we're definitely heading into the right direction. I'm loving it.
Okay. Listen, Val, how are you feeling about the words that came out of Chris Johnson's mouth when he talked about, understanding that he's going to allow Joe Douglas and their team president to do the coaching search, and that Joe Douglas's opinion was going to weigh more heavily than anyone else's, and that he's going to have the final say. He's going to sign off, but Joe Douglas pretty much is going to be the guy that's going to head the head coaching search, and he'll just, he's pretty much just going to sign off with who Joe Douglas picks, as long as everything's okay with him.
Yep, because he got to sign the check. So yeah, that's great news. That is great news. I'm glad that ownership is actually stepping down a little bit, because obviously they made a horrible decision by getting Adam Gase, and I feel like you got to trust the guy that you brung in and that could steer this ship around. And Joe Douglas, he does have a good minded so far of being a good GM. So you should allow that GM to actually pick his head coach, so they could build that relationship when he does select that head coach, that they have the same mindset, or that they have the same, future that they, that they're going to plan on doing when he accepts that head coach, whoever he chooses.
Yeah. I mean, you're speaking facts right there. What type of head coach do you want, man? Because he also said he talked about getting a CEO head coach, a guy that kind of is like a supervisor of everything on the team. Some people are talking about, I think they think the Jets would be better with an offensive-minded head coach. Some people are talking about they think a defensive-minded head coach would be better. Where are you at with that, man? Do you want a CEO? Do you want an offensive mind? Do you want a defensive guy? What kind of coach do you want to bring into the Jets?
Listen, what I want to have as a head coach, I want to have a head coach that have both minds. I want a coach that knows about offense and knows about defense. And yes, I want him to be that CEO, and we definitely 100% need a leader. We don't need somebody that is just like a person that's going to just manage one side of the field, which is like if he's an offense or a defensive coach. Yes, Rex Ryan, he was like I would say he was more of a leader, but he knew the defense, but he was like a little lax on the offense as well, because, he couldn't develop a quarterback. We need somebody that knows both sides and to develop a quarterback, because we need that quarterback to actually proceed. You see what happened with the Bills. The Bills, they had a coach that basically knew a little bit of both, but he had the right candidates around him. So we need somebody that knows how to have both sides of the field.
Okay. Who's your top guy, man? Who do you think that the Jets are bringing in?
Right now, man, I've been doing a little more research and stuff about these quarterbacks. I'm honestly liking the guy from the Titans. Sorry, I really don't know the names off the top of the head, but
Arthur
the guy
Smith.
from the Titans.
Man. Go ahead. Yeah. We talking football,
Arthur
bro.
Smith.
Arthur Smith. Yeah, for sure.
Arthur Smith, the guy from the Bills, and Eric.
Eric
Bieniemy. The guy from the Chiefs. Eric Bieniemy. Yeah. I would say like Eric. I feel like, is he going to be that leader? Like, is he a leader in a way? Like, does he have like experience of being a head coach? A lot of these guys don't have the sense of having that head coach mentality. So we got to just see if they're going to be that person. I feel like he is, but I got to see both sides. I need him to to see both sides of his coaching ability.
Okay, yeah, I respect that. that.
So those are my top three.
Okay, so those are your top three. But who is the one guy out of those three? Who's the guy you want the most?
Okay, I'm gonna say the guy from the Bills, because my thing is he's been around a lot of championship teams. He knows exactly how to win. He knows exactly what the team needs, and he knows how to to steer the ship the right way. And I feel like, you've seen it with Josh Allen and stuff. They turned that team around. I mean, we was basically back in 2017, we was on the same boat as the Bills, and they just like steered the ship in the right direction. We, of course, steered the ship in the wrong direction by getting Adam Gase. So that set us back 2 years.
We sunk the ship.
Right. So I'm definitely mad.
We sunk the damn ship.
We sure did.
We sunk it, man. We sunk it. We hit a rock.
Man.
We blew a hole.
We was like a Titanic.
People fell off. We don't know what's going on. We sunk the ship, man.
we like the Titanic, man. It was just going all down, man. We was floating. You know. We just hit a
we had
iceberg
life
or
vests
something,
on.
man.
People trying to survive, man. We sunk the ship. we sunk
I know. Now the sun is starting to come out, you know, so it's starting to warm up. So hopefully we can rebuild the ship and stuff, you know. Ownership is starting to, you know, come to mind and stuff. But yeah, man, I just hope that we could really just turn this thing around.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can as well.
Years.
And when you talk about that, I look at the situation here, and I'm starting to, you know, I'm just going to play devil's advocate. If I was a person that wasn't a Jets fan, I'd be like, okay, well, Jets fans, I know you guys have, you know, dreams of landing one of these top coaching candidates, but what makes you folks so attractive? Like, what exactly about the Jets would make a top head coaching candidate want to come there? I mean, there's other teams that have openings that have great spots, that have a culture or have a history of winning, at least more recent history of winning. So that's my question for you, Val, is like, what exactly makes the Jets such an attractive organization, such an attractive spot? What could we bring to the table that other teams, you know, may not have? Or what could we bring to the table that would even entice another coach to come here?
I mean, no, we're not, of course, the sexy pick and stuff like that as a head coach to come here. I would say the ownership is starting to wake up. I would say that we do have a good GM that is well respected. A lot of people, you know, before he got hired, was saying this is the guy. You know, he is very smart, and you see ownership is starting to give him a little bit more power. So I would say that would, you know, is more attractive as well. We do have a quarterback that is 22 years old. You know, he's on his third year. Yes, they said that, you know, if you do want him, we will. It's basically. It's Joe Douglas. If you like Joe Douglas and you're like, you know, on the same page with him and stuff, I would think, you know, he would, you know, choose him and stuff. But I feel like, you know, we do have a lot of young talent as well. I feel like we have a lot of cap space. That's number one. Number two, I would say we're the second pick in the draft. We do have 2 picks in this draft in the first round, and we have multiple picks in the future as well, too. So we have some capital. So I would say that's the thing that could attract somebody.
Okay. You know what? Listen. Val, you spoke some facts. That was a hell of a take, man. That was a great take right there. You spoke facts because all those things could be things that would absolutely attract a head coach to come here. Like you said, the option at quarterback because we have that number 2 pick, the money, the capital, and like you said, the general manager as well, being able to work with a competent general manager. That was a great take, Val. That was a great take. And so I got to keep going to these lines. But my final question to you, Val, is how quickly do you think the Jets should strike? Like, are you concerned that we might not be as aggressive as we need to get the right guy in here? Do you think the Jets should absolutely make sure that they do whatever they can to push the pedal to the metal to get the right guy?
Okay. My thing is I wouldn't strike so fast, but I would strike faster than we did last time because last time it took us like almost a month to find a head coach.
Yep.
And we ended up with, you know, we lost some coaches and coaches stayed and coaches got signed while we were still waiting. And, you know, we ended up with Adam Gase, and you know how that turned out, a miserable 2 years. But I feel like, you know, we should take our time a little bit, but we should strike.
Yeah.
If you have that guy that you think is there, take it, strike at it. And if, you know, it's up to Joe Douglas. If you feel like he's on the same page as you, I would strike at it. And I think that's my take right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Val, listen, man, I want to thank you for calling in, my man. Straight Savage is always good to you. Or it's always good to speak with you, man. You have a good night, my friend.
You too, man. And everybody like and subscribe to Joe. And if it was up to Adam Gase, Frank Gore would have got that 5-year extension.
Oh, my goodness, Val. All right, salute to you, Val. You have a good night, my friend.
Salute, man. All right, man.
Bro, Val is something else, man. Val is something else. I'm going to get to my guy, Venom G's. 1 second, then we're going to go to 862. But I got to get my savages in the chat, man, because, you know, they getting crazy in there right now. S702, salute to you, my friend. S702 in the chat says, the coach that chooses the Jets will be the most competitive coach. He will want to show everybody, I took the worst team to the top. Absolutely. I think that the next coach that comes up here, and again, salute to you, my friends. Good to see you in here. The next coach that comes into New York Jets facility that's hired here is going to be a guy that wants a challenge. He's going to have to be a guy that wants to come in here and turn things around. He's not going to want to be a guy that wants things to come easy. He's going to want to be a guy that thinks to himself, you know what? I can go into a place and change the culture. I can go into a place and be that guiding light for, you know, the franchise that's been one of the most lost franchises in the NFL for quite a bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be the guy to turn things around. I'm going to be beloved for it because you will be. If you win here, let me tell you something. If you win in New York, okay, outside of just the spoils of being a winner, it's the media capital of the world, okay? You'll become something other. You'll become something else, okay? I'm telling you, people will absolutely fawn over you. They will fall over you. This fan base is begging for a winner. We're begging to win. If you win here, you will be loved forever. You will be loved forever. Believe me, okay? I'm going to keep going to these lines. Venom G's, I'm coming to you. Then after that, we're going to 862. Venom G's, my man. How are you feeling today, first and foremost? Second, what are your thoughts about Adam Gase being fired?
That's why I'm happy, man. He's fired, man. This is what we all been talking about so long, man. It's well overdue, man. Get him out of here.
Man.
Yo, I'm just so happy. The water tastes more better now. My meals are more better now. Everything is better. You know, everything is much more better, man.
Venom G said everything. The sky is brighter. The flowers are blooming.
Yeah.
Ever since I got the news yesterday, just everything is better around me. I respect that. Everybody's hyped. Everybody's happy about the future of the team, Venom. But I got to ask you this question, man. How much faith do you have in Joe Douglas to get the next head coaching hire right? Because he's going to be the guy that's in charge of searching for the new guy.
Yeah, I have all the faith in the world in Joe, man. I think he's gonna pick the right guy, man. And I know we all talk about the type of head coach that we need in the building. I think we just need somebody that understands defense or offense, but also still understand clock management and game management as well too. So I think that's very important because you saw what happened with Gase, where he was in his playbook so much that the Raiders came and threw that bomb over us, and he didn't even know what the hell was going on because he had somebody else managing the defense. So I think we definitely got to have somebody that could manage both sides of the ball and know what's going on in the time of possessions and know how to run 2-minute offenses and everything. So I think I know Joe Douglas is going to make the right pick. So I know if they give him the lane to do what he has to do, he's going to make the right pick.
Okay. If the Jets hire Arthur Smith from the Titans, their offensive coordinator, would you be upset?
Oh, man.
Talk to me, Venom.
That's not a pick I would like, but
okay.
It's not a pick that I would like, but if he services us well and he does a great job, I wouldn't mind it. But
okay. Who's your pick then? Who's your pick then, Venom?
I like the Bowl from Buffalo, and I just have an intuition though that it's going to be the guy from the Ravens. I just have an intuition that he's going to reunite with I think he's going to reunite with Joe Douglas again, and it just seems like he's a second coming of Rex Ryan, and he understands how to control the game because he's just been around so much, and he's been in championship squads, and I think that's the way that they're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think we did enough. We did enough with offensive coaches, and I think we were more successful with defensive coaching. So I think we're going to lean back that way.
But how concerned? Okay, so say we do bring him in. How concerned are you that he may not understand or that he doesn't have a plan for the offensive side of the ball? Because, like you said, we saw success with Rex Ryan, but we also saw failures on the other side of the ball, right? Rex Ryan, as much as I loved him, he failed to properly develop. Failed to properly develop, Mark Sanchez, and that offense fell off of a cliff. And it seemed like he really didn't care about it. So, do you really want to go back down that road when you look at it from that perspective?
And I think what you do is get brilliant offensive coordinators in and just, make sure they're running your type of scheme that you like, and you're still innovative with the game, how it's progressing. And I think you give people like-minded people that want to win, that want to come in, and somebody that's probably from the college coaching rank to come up, step up, and somebody that you believe in, a quarterback coach. So you got to have one of those on staff now, because they did a disservice to not have one while Sam was in the building. So I think that like I said, I would like the bowl, but I just have an intuition that that's what they're gonna do.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you the same question that I asked Val, man. How enticing do you think the Jets are as a position for a new head coach? Because there's a lot of other teams out there that are pretty good and that they have options. I mean, if I'm a new coach, Venom, if I'm a new coach, Venom, can you sell me on being here? Like, what can you bring to me that these other teams can't? Why should I be the Jets' next head coach, man?
And I think Val said it the best, where is the cap space. They have a young quarterback. If you want to bring in a new quarterback, we have draft capital. And even then, even with that, we have the number 2 pick. I don't think that, is ours. It's not like Houston. Houston has no picks. They have nothing you could build around it. Their money is tied up into Watson and J.J. Watt. So it's. I think we have a really good spot, a landing spot. We have young players that just need teaching up, and I think it's a great place to start. I think we're number 2 or 3, right behind Jacksonville. Okay. I think it's just like the draft. I don't think there's anything different, So I think a lot of coaches would love to be here.
Okay, I respect that, Venom. And then my final question before I let you go, Venom, is how quickly do you think the Jets should strike, man? Is this a coaching search that you think that they should bring in their top guys immediately and get a guy signed, or do you want to see them, kind of weigh their options and really go through the list thoroughly and really go over guys? Because we've seen people miss out in the past, man, doing that. Go ahead.
Yeah. I want them to do their due diligence. That's what this process is for. Really, really looking and seeing what these guys are about, calling around, seeing what they do well, what they don't do well, and just do their due diligence and get somebody signed really quick, because you have to start getting ready, prepared for the free agency and the draft at this point. So you need somebody in that's going to be like-minded and get on the same page with Joe and just see how this roster could pan out. Because I think we're going to have to, so many years we dumped into the defense, we're going to have to definitely supply Sam with some protection or any quarterback else that comes through the door.
Yeah, absolutely. You're speaking facts. Listen, Venom, this was a great call, man. You always call in with the fire, and you did tonight as well, man. You always know how to bring it. That's a fact, man. So listen, I want to thank you for calling in again, my friend. I want you to have a good night.
Oh, you too, Joe. Have a good one and a Happy New Year. All the Savages.
Happy New Year.
Peace out.
Go ahead. Salute, man. My guy, listen, Venom calling in with the fire. He always has the fire. Always has the fire, all right? I'm going to keep going to these lines. I'm coming to my guy, man, 862. I'm coming directly to you. I believe this is the old Jets fan. He's calling in. I think this is my guy, the old Jets fan. I wanted you to give me your thoughts on Adam Gase being fired, my friend. How are you feeling today about that?
Thank God. Thank God. I mean, he was the worst hire since Bruce Coslett or Richie Kotite.
Bruce Kotite,
so, yeah. So, like, I'm really happy about it. The thing that I'm afraid of is that they're going to blow it again. And I always talk to you about consistency. Consistency is being, you're going to commit to a guy. I always told you that Rex Ryan should never have been fired. Eric Mangini should never have been fired. So we're back on the coaching carousel again, and that's what makes me afraid. If I was a new coach, would I want to go to an organization that gives you about 2 to 4 years to turn an organization around? And obviously that's not working.
No, well, I hear you. I hear you there. But again, when you look at this head coaching position here, and again, I want to thank you for calling in, I don't think that it's that cut and dry as far as when you look at the situation. I don't think that the Jets organization is asking you to be a Super Bowl winner in 3 years. I think when you look at the situations and you look at the coaches that we fired in 2 years, you look at Adam Gase, you just said it yourself as well. He's the worst head coach that we've had since Rich Kotite. And I wasn't around for those times, but again, older Jets fans like yourself as well, they've echoed the same sentiment. But I'll tell you what, I've seen bad coaches in this league, and he is the worst coach in the league by far. And this is not the first year he's been the worst coach in the league.
You didn't see Charlie Winner, Lou Holtz.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
so when you look
Charlie
at the situation, I think that new coaches are going to look at it and be like, okay, they gave those guys enough time to figure out who they were. And then once they figured out, this wasn't the guy, they moved on from him. Honestly, the Jets, you can, most people think they hold on to people for too long, especially Adam Gase. People were calling for him to be fired in week 2, and they still didn't fire him. They let him continue on until the end of the season.
They have
so
a
I think,
tradition of letting the coach go to the end of the season. But that's something that they do that's classic New York Jets because they don't want to pay their contract out. Okay. And I've been watching since, like I told you, like 1968. And as an individual who's been invested in this team for a long, long time, the peak of this team after Weeb Eubank was Bill Parcells, and it was Rex Ryan. That's the peak. That's the peak.
Yeah.
And like I watch Sam Darnold play, and I have to say this to you all the time. He's like the best player on the team, and he makes plays that are amazing, and then he'll do something stupid. Well, the stupid part is where the coaching's supposed to come in, and it bothers me because, like I tell you all the time, Bill Parcells would have had this team in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, you're speaking truth right there. The coaching could be better, and that's where I think they failed Sam as well. Outside of just the roster that was put around him, because there was a lot of holes there as well. But Adam Gase was just not the right coach, and neither was Darryl Loggins. I mean, they didn't even give him a quarterback coach. I mean, there were so many issues, and honestly, the scheme didn't even fit him either. So there was just massive issues, but the coaching was some of the biggest part of it as well. Go ahead.
The part that gets to me is that Frank Gore should have been the older gentleman teaching him how to play rather than being the number one rusher.
Yeah.
And
we talked about that constantly.
37. He's ready for Social Security, and the part that bothers me is that he should be the individual teaching the guys how to play as a secondary coach, and he was the number one rusher on their team. That is insane.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely crazy. But again, that's a coaching decision. And even going forward, because now we're in control, we're in the driver's seat. We can fix this situation, and especially with us having Joe Douglas here, who's the coach that you want to see brought in? Who's the guy that you want to see the Jets hire?
Jesus Christ! You know, it's scary for me to even mention this. Bill Cowher.
Wow. Okay.
Only the reason why I say that is that this game is brought down on two things. I watch this every week. If you block and tackle, you will win. It's a real simple game. It really is. You can do all the X's and O's and all these fancy things. If I block you and I tackle you, we will win. And when the Jets, look at this. They beat the Rams and they beat the Browns back to back. So we know they know how to block and tackle, thank God. But it's losing like they did last week. It's a simple game. And if I'm able to physically dominate you, Mekhi Becton, I told you, I haven't seen it like this since Orlando Pace. And you know I love the Brickstraw Ferguson. But
yeah, but the question, one second, I don't mean to cut you off, but the question you have about Bill Cowher, when you're talking about bringing in Bill Cowher, are you concerned that the game possibly has passed him by? I mean, he hasn't coached in over 10 years.
No, because the game still is the same thing. The game is still the same thing. Like, if I would see, being a head coach is not being a coordinator. Being a head coach is being able to get your guys in there and hold them accountable. So if I were him, I would hire the hottest offensive coordinator that's out there, or even Don Martindale, Wink Martindale in the Baltimore Ravens. You get them in there, and you coach the team. I found the worst part about being with Andrew Gase and any of those coordinators that call their plays is that they're standing there with a fucking card in their face going,
whoa, can't curse. Watch your language.
I'm sorry.
Can't curse. It's a family show.
They're calling the plays so that subconsciously their defense doesn't see them as their coach. Okay? So Bill Parcells never called a game. Never called a game. He had Bill Belichick and Ron Earhart, which, by the way, if you haven't really researched him, one of the great offensive coordinators in NFL history, is that he allowed them to think about this. Ron Earhart's game plan against the 1990 Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl is in the Hall of Fame. We had 40 minutes of possession against them. And when I take a look at someone like Weeb Eubank, I don't know how if you know how great he was. He was a great coach. Being a coach is not being a coordinator, not calling plays. It's about holding everybody accountable. That's what Sean Payton is, who's a Bill Parcells person,
disciple,
who, by the way, is with Jim Fossil. You take a look at Bill Belichick. I believe in the future the Vince Lombardi Trophy will be changed to the Bill Belichick award. And if you take a look at it, when I look at this future of the Jets, we have to settle on somebody. We have to settle on somebody for a decade and just weather the storm. Yeah. Look, I respect your take. You're bringing a fire right now. I got to get going. So listen, I want to thank you for calling in, my friend. It's always good to speak to you. Next time I have a show, you got to call in. I love talking to you. Every time. And my wife still thinks you're sexy. Well, salute to her. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. And again, thank you for calling in, my friend. It's always great to speak to him. You know what I'm saying? Salute to, his wife as well. Love, old Jets fans calling in and just talking Jets and talking about the team. So salute to him. You know what I'm saying? Listen, this has been one heck of a show, folks. Been great speaking to everyone. Listen, this is the Jets' time. We've got to get this situation correct. And I think that Joe Douglas he's on the right track, man. He's on the right track. And as long as the Johnsons allow him
to do his thing. And, him and our team president, they're going to find the right guy. I want them to strike fast. I want them to be aggressive in their search. They've already sent out requests to guys that I like as well, but I want them to get the right guy in here. And once you get the guy in here that you covet, the guy that's number one on your list, because I'm pretty sure they have a list of guys that they want. They get the guy that's number one on their list. Don't let that guy out the door, man. Don't let him out the door. Don't do it. We've seen in the past other teams, they get the guy that they want in the building, they let him walk out the door and go other places, and he goes signs with somebody else and flourishes. We cannot let that happen here. We've got to grab the opportunity and take it. We gotta win this one, because this is going to set us up for years to come. We've got to win. We've got to win this head coaching search. This is where it starts. And then we continue to build the foundation as we go into the offseason with free agency and the draft. We've got to do that. We've got to get the right guy. Because when you get the wrong guy in here, you end up with an Adam Gase, man. You end up with That's how you build. That's how you build. So listen, I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. I want to thank everybody for listening. I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. I'm also on Twitter as well at YoungJ000. That's 3 zeros. Go ahead and follow me. I'll follow you right back. You want to troll me? No issues. I'm the troll that lives under the bridge, and I will have my Darnold jersey on. I'm hoping that they keep him for the future. There's a lot of good things coming, a lot of positivity flowing right now. You know what I'm saying? So I got his jersey. I'm going to keep wearing it. All right? You can also visit the show's Twitter as well at The Long Beach Joe Show. Go ahead and follow that to follow you right back. We love going back and forth with folks, you know what I'm saying, talking football and everything. I'm also on YouTube as well at The Long Beach Joe Jets. The Long Beach Joe Jets. You know what I'm saying? Watch my content on there. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe. Turn on your notifications. My live streams are on there as well. And if you want to troll me in the comments as well, no issues. I will troll you right back in the comments. No problem whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? And as always, people, when you see me in person, it is arms out, chest open, free hugs for everyone. Free hugs for everyone. All right? This is the occasion, man. We got to come together. This is a new beginning for us. So you folks have a good one. Peace.